you're thinking about the space and what how you're using it, you're naming it, you're envisioning it,
Yeah.
all of those things. And I was like, oh, this is really great. But there's red tape. There's a reason why not a lot of people want to do it. It actually takes a long time to ever get paid. Sometimes you will never get paid. Sometimes you'll prospect and it won't work. And sometimes you'll prospect and it will work.
So you're like, I totally want to do this.
And it's like, oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Well, it also, like, most developers don't go into development.
Uh-huh.
Most developers go into a career and become developers because you need to have a cash flow
Yeah.
outside of development, because you can't make a living on that for a
Yeah.
long time. You're actually putting out. And one day it'll turn into something that's an investment. Well, so there's so much risk involved. And there is a lot of, I think the best developers are ones who are civic minded, where they're not they're building for, there is a profit motivation, because that, I believe that capitalism, when exercised rightly, actually has a community benefit. When it's crony and there's there's backroom deals and there's trying all the kind of things that could happen, yeah, then it's not as good. But I think that the developers that are really inspiring and the ones that are saying, I want to create spaces where people not only will want to buy there, but they'll thrive there. I want to think about what people, sometimes not always what they'll ask for, but what they'll be grateful they have when they have it.
And you have a curious mind and curious of people. I'll even just take my son for interest. Like, when my son just thinks you're the coolest guy, and I know why. It's because when he's around, you ask him how he is, or what would keep him in Redding, or what is he up to.
Yeah.
And that curiosity of yours expands to lots of different kinds of people, because you have that mindset of like, what would bring them all together to one place, I
Right.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, and I do think that what K2 did downtown, they had to ask those questions to create that space. They had to go out and look at how other markets are developed and how would it translate to our community, because there is something to our culture where you can't build something that's so far out of the culture where no one actually is going to want it.
Yeah.
You have to kind of create something that people want. But then when they're there, they go, man, I would have never imagined it exactly like this, but I'm so glad it's here. And I think that thing for me, like on one of my projects, is a subdivision that's a front porch community. That was, and then my downtown project has a rooftop decks. And we're like the first rooftop decks and the first front porch community. And I did two things I think people are really enjoyed, those that have those places. They're like, man, I'm so glad we have rooftop decks, and man, I'm so glad I have this front porch.
Yeah.
These are all metaphors, though, of like places to connect and to enjoy our outdoor space here, but also connect with other people. And I think those are things that are expensive to build. They don't always appraise, and they cost about the same price per square foot, but it's an amenity. It's like, instead of just putting all that into the back patio, which is kind of easy and whatever, but what if we thought a little bit about design and say, how can I make this a place of connection, with community? So anyway, those are the things that it led me down that road. And what happened is I came and visited Redding. How is the thing? Well, I actually do believe that there was a big shift that started to happen for me from tech to real estate.
Okay.
Where I kind of saw myself going into this space. So the way Redding got into the picture is that I literally had, in this dream, I saw very vividly what we were building and and how the landscape looked and everything. And I randomly, on a realtor.com app, got a listing notification to a piece of land in Redding while I was in Ohio. And every picture that I flipped through was exactly what was in my dream. Kind of freaked me out.
Yeah.
So call it coincidence, call it God, call it whatever it was. But I'd never heard of the city before. Of course, I'm California native, and I looked and I was like, man, the scrubby oaks were exactly what were in my dream. I'd never seen those before. The
You say
texture.
California native, where in California?
I'm from Riverside, California.
Which is completely different.
Yes, completely different. That's
okay.
Yeah, that's near Orange County. It's Inland Empire. Nothing down there looks like up here.
Yeah.
And nothing in Ohio looks like here. The texture of the dirt, the trees, the oaks, that kind of thing. It just is not Midwest at all.
So you're like, there's my dream.
And there's my dream.
realtor.com.
I need to go visit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, this is crazy.
What's your wife thinking at this point?
She's like, you're crazy. And I was like, but we kind of need a vacation, so let's go.
Yeah.
So
we take California.
So we come and visit, and I changed a hotel reservation last minute to an Airbnb, and it was Aaron Nelson's house.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, who ended up becoming my broker. He's no longer has an agency anymore here, but he became when I moved here, we ended up moving into that house and lived with him for the first 9 months, and I met everybody. I think that I ended up
Great.
running with.
Yeah.
Like in that first weekend we visited, I met Luke Miner,
Okay.
like Todd Stromback,
Yeah.
Jason Odell.
That's
I
crazy.
met all these guys in the
City
first
builders.
weekend. All city builders, people
Yeah.
that were on the way to clicking into
Yeah.
like big investments into the community.
You just got dropped right
And
into
I
that
got
pocket.
dropped in the middle of it at the
Yeah.
right time. I just felt really privileged. I was like, this is the city I want to be a part of. Like I met Hope Seth. I met all these people same weekend.
Yeah. Some of us were here for a long time
Yeah.
to work those names into our
Yeah.
repertoire, man.
So I know, yeah. And so at the end of the 4-day weekend, 5-day weekend, whatever we came, like a lot, like, extend this period of time, I pulled my wife aside and I was like, hey, what do you think of Redding? She's like, she looked at me like she's kind of a homebody. She's not a big change person. She was like, I think we have to move here. I was like, whoa. And it honestly, it hit me like a ton of bricks because it made from the dream to that point was about 8 months.
That's so fast
Of a
though,
period.
really.
And I was overwhelmed because I go, man, I didn't think a stupid dream would just like move my family 3,000 miles away and to away from our other family. We had no one around.
Crazy.
And to bring 4 girls, all under 9, to this city.
That is big.
It was a big move, but I think what it was a combination, not just the dream, it was the people we met. And if we had not met those people and what their heart burned for, which was investing in the community, investing in the city, I don't think we would have done it. And
But instead you were dropped right into that pocket. So you did.
Yep.
So 2014.
2015 we
15.
moved here. Yep.
Okay.
So 10 years. Yeah. So we're going on our 11th year. Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So 2015, we move here and what starts transpiring?
Well, from there, I'm still in tech, but I start transitioning to real estate and slowly, but not the first year. The first year I joined at the Economic Development Corporation as an entrepreneur in residence. So Luke Miner and I did that together.
Okay.
We started the startup weekend, startup games that year.
So you already started getting involved
right away.
Really in the community.
Yeah. So within the first 3 months, we brought the startup games here, which they call them startup games now, but they were called startup weekend back then.
Yeah, I remember that. Okay.
And that was, basically helping young entrepreneurs, or not just young entrepreneurs, but just early stage entrepreneurs.
There's old entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I should say early
stage.
Early stage is what I mean.
Early stage.
Yes.
That's a whole different thing.
Yes, that's a whole. Yes. So we early onset entrepreneurship.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. You start them with that.
Yeah, and we, that took off, and then, we just kept building that community. So that was actually my first kind of engagement with community was through entrepreneurs.
Yeah, had you done anything like that where you were from?
Yes, I mean, that was a big part of my tech side as we built apps, mobile apps and web apps for venture-backed companies. So I was working with entrepreneurs for the last 10 years before moving here.
Okay, so it was a natural fit.
Yes.
So it's so interesting. God dropped you right into this natural fit, but also this new fit at the same exact time.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was the perfect timing for Redding too, because they were ready to click forward the startup Redding community that they just started.
Yeah.
But they didn't know what are the events that are going to kind of catalyze that?
Spur this. Yeah.
And this was kind of one of those that kind of created this top of funnel gathering of people where they did this competition for a weekend to build.
Are you still involved in that?
Yeah. Mostly on the mentoring side and judging. Some years I judge, some years I mentor, things like that.
Wherever you're led.
Yeah.
So you're doing that and real estate starts.
Yeah. So then 2016, 2017, I start my first project and we get going. Then, I get my real estate license. From there, I get my second project downtown. Started seeing that downtown just seemed like a really great place to take a smaller piece of land, do an infill. So both my projects have been infill. And then from there, started working with other people that had other projects and just helping them. So whatever I was learning, I wanted to share with others.
Yeah.